Welcome to another episode of Curtain Call Conversations. I am here today with Pip Simpson, who is assistant stage manager and understudy at the Gruffalo's Child. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Thanks for
Good,
having me.
good. Great. How is the show going? I mean, I think we all know the Gruffalo as the original Julia Donaldson story. So tell us a little bit about the story of the Gruffalo's Child.
Yeah, so The Gruffalo's Child is the sequel to The Gruffalo. She starts off with her dad in the cave, and they're sort of talking, and then he has a bad dream about the big bad mouse, and then the Gruffalo's Child then is asking questions about it, and he tells her about the story of the big bad mouse, to which she really wants to go and find the big bad mouse, but the dad says no, you can't go into the deep dark wood, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So she's like, all right. But then when the Gruffalo falls asleep again, she sets off on her adventure.
Right.
And then it's the story of her in the deep dark wood, and we meet the predators that we met the first time round.
Okay.
So the snake, the owl, and the fox. And we then meet the clever mouse, who is the one pretending to be the big bad mouse.
Okay.
Yeah, so and then he really scares her, and there's like she runs away.
Yeah.
And runs back and finds her dad, and that's kind of the end, and she kind of has learned her lesson.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's such a joy in sort of children's theatre. I think what do you find that the audience reaction is? Because the children know these stories so well. Sort of, they're read to every night, and they see them on stage. I mean, what are their reactions like?
Well, it's so lovely having the children in the audience, because some of them are dressed up as the Gruffalo
Oh.
and have like these with them. There's like major fans in the audience.
Yeah.
We've even had like kids like saying the lines at the same time we're doing
wow.
it. So like they really know the story and they're really excited.
Yeah.
And
So
obviously
you're
like
out.
having kids in the audience is quite loud as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. I suppose it's never sort of a dull show, is it, with kids in
No,
the audience? So
you never
that
know
always
quite what they're going to do.
yeah, that always helps. And so you're currently out touring the show, I believe, at the moment. So how's touring life for you?
Yeah, I mean, this is my first tour, so I'm still sort of getting to grips with it, really.
Yeah.
But it's been really fun. I mean, we've been in some places for literally just a day or two,
Oh, okay.
so it's been like quite non-stop, like traveling and getting in and getting out of different theatres,
Yeah.
and obviously different theatres are different sizes, so we're kind of having to adapt the size of our staging and
Sure.
that sort of thing on the go, which is quite exciting.
Yeah. I mean, your role as an assistant stage manager, obviously I would imagine that's part of your job, having to, work out where everybody goes if the stage is different sort of sizing. How long have you been doing that role?
Yeah, since the beginning of the tour. So
Okay.
I help with the get-ins and the get-outs of theatres, as
Yeah.
well as helping with the sound checks and making sure everyone's like ready to go on. And if there's any issues, I'm sort of there to help sort them.
Yeah.
And also I'm in charge of like the laundry and stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay. The glamorous side.
Then also I go on as the Gruffalo's Child kind of at least once a week,
Okay.
as like scheduled shows,
Yeah.
as well as if anyone's ill, I'm on.
Oh,
So
okay. So do you cover all of the roles?
I don't,
Oh,
but sort of a rotation what we do. So
okay.
I understudy a Gruffalo's Child,
Uh-huh.
but if, say, one of the other actors is ill, so Max, who plays the Gruffalo, if he was ill, Sam, who plays the mouse, would play the Gruffalo.
I
Harriet, who
see.
normally plays the Gruffalo's Child, would play the mouse, and I'd play the Gruffalo's Child.
Right. I mean, it's
So
all very clever. I'm so in awe of you as performers that can just take on multiple roles and just switch it. I mean, it's so clever.
yeah,
Yeah. I
so
mean,
there's different configurations, which is
yeah,
quite well.
yeah. I mean, what do you find the rehearsal process like? Do you enjoy that sort of getting started on something, or do you just itch to get into the venues and just do it, for the first time?
See, the rehearsals are really fun in like their own right,
Mm,
and like really different to when you're actually performing, because you're doing much more like thinking about the character, and you're like developing the character and like playing around a bit more. Whereas like
yeah.
when you're doing the show, it's a bit more of a routine.
Mm.
so like you know what you're doing, and like this is what happens.
Yeah.
So there's kind of, yeah, I mean the rehearsals were really fun. You know, we sort of, because we helped like devise bits as well, and like
Yeah. Yeah.
played around with the words so we can kind of make it our own a bit.
Sure. Is this the first sort of work you've done with tall stories?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually, the whole cast is new,
Oh,
so
brilliant.
that's quite exciting as well. So we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, well, that's
Not
good. And yeah, and how are you feeling about going into the West End, because you open at the Garrick Theatre on the 1st of December, so that's big.
No, next week. It's very
Yes.
exciting.
Gosh.
I know, yeah. So we're really excited. It's going to be
Yeah.
a really fun experience because we're there for about 6 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'd be nice to be over the festive period, and all the Christmas stuff that's going on in London would be lovely.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a big like excited vibe going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so wonderful. So let's talk about you, Pip. So tell me where your love of performing came from.
Ah, I've always wanted to be on the stage, really, like ever since I was really young. And then when I was 6 or 7, I got a role in The Wizard of Oz at the Royal Festival Hall.
Yeah.
That was kind of my first like thing, and ever
Mm,
since then I've done lots of amateur dramatics as a child,
yeah.
uh, more musicals, and then yeah, I carried it on into like college. I did performing arts, and then I got into drama school,
Hmm.
and I went to East 15.
Okay.
Did 3 years there, and now here I am as a
There you are. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned musicals there. Do you have, I mean, that's my first love, musical theatre. So do you have a preference? I mean, would you sort of lean towards more musical theatre, or just sort of, straight stuff, or
I really debated whether or not to do musical theatre or acting at
right.
drama school, because you kind of have to choose. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, it was a hard decision, but in the end, I actually did physical theatre
Okay.
course, which kind of has a bit of both because there's like movement involved. So like
Mm,
bit of, like more musical theatre movement, as well as lots of other things. I mean,
yeah.
I really enjoy singing, but I would say at heart, I'm more of an actor.
Okay. Can we expect any sort of musical moments in the Gruffalo's Child?
You can, yes,
Ah,
there
excellent.
is songs,
Oh, lovely.
dances.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's about 4 or 5 songs.
Ah,
So
nice.
yeah, it's really exciting, and like songs are really fun and
Yeah.
really accurate. And I think that also helps keep the audiences like involved. Like the kids really love the songs, and like
Yeah.
we've had kids dancing at the stage.
Oh, that's so sweet. So, I mean, people may be interested in, as I am, sort of an audition process for sort of this type of show. I mean, talk us through what your audition process was like for this.
Yeah, so my first audition was a workshop audition. So we were in a big group, about like 15 of us. Because I think there was different groups, but in my group there's about 15,
Mhm.
and it was about 2 hours. Um, and we did lots of like things about working together. I think the team really wanted to see people who could work with people.
Yeah.
That was like a big thing. So we did like improvising and like games,
Mhm.
and we did do a song as well. We did like singing together,
Yeah.
um, and like storytelling activities.
Mhm.
So I think they just wanted to see who could work together in a group as well as tell the story, and like who like they can see who they would want to work with.
Yeah.
And then I got a recall, which was then that was on my own, and I had to learn a song from the show
Okay.
and a short scene,
Mhm.
and did like a bit of improvising with like movement.
Okay.
So they really wanted to see the like precision in like character physicality.
Mhm.
So having to think about like how the character would move
Yeah.
around the stage and like interact, and like how what voice it would be. And
Right.
then there was a final recall, which were in small groups of 3. Um,
Okay.
and then we did more of the scenes that was more acting based.
Yeah. And what's it like for you as a performer, getting that call, and for them to say, yes, we'd like you. What's that feeling like?
Right, it was amazing because I hadn't. because you're sort of on tenterhooks as soon as you finish the audition. You have no idea when they're going to contact you, whether it's going to be the next day or in like a few weeks.
Yeah.
So and it had been, I think, at least a week. So I was like, I haven't heard anything, and you start, oh, maybe it's not this time, you know.
Yeah.
So I'd sort of forgotten a little bit about it, like I wasn't. And then I got this email, and then I was like, oh, that's so exciting. And it's also a bit daunting because it was like it's quite a long tour. Oh, that's like going to be the next couple months of my life. That's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it is exciting. And I think touring, you know, I speak to a fair few people that do touring productions, and, you know, they're always like really excited to get out there and to see different places. I mean, have you had a favourite place that you visited so far?
Canterbury was lovely.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because we were at the Gulbenkian Theatre, which was actually in the university campus.
Oh, okay.
It was like really exciting. It was a really lovely theatre. It was kind of quite intimate. But we've also been to some more older theatres. In Lancaster, it was one of the oldest theatres in the country. So it was like grand.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting, I think, visiting different theatres. I love it. I love to go and visit a new theatre because it's just lovely to go and see the decor for one, because most of these old theatres are so beautiful inside. That I think it's always a joy to go and see them. So what's the plan after the London run?
So we are back on tour January.
Oh, brilliant.
Until that April.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So it is a really long tour.
Yeah. So we're going to lots and lots of places next year as well for people to come and watch.
Yeah. Did you think there's a difference between, obviously, the Garrick Theatre is quite a large theatre, and you mentioned there that, you know, some theatres are quite small on the tour so far. Do you think that changes the performance at all, being in like a massive theatre?
Yeah, I do think so. And because when you're on stage, it changes where your eye line is and like where you're looking, because you want to interact with kind of everyone, make sure you're like engaging with everyone. So in a smaller theatre you can see more people. I don't know which one I prefer, really.
Yeah.
When they're really big theatres, you kind of have to look more up a lot more.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, the bigger the theatre, the more the audience. So, you know, more kids to enjoy the fantastic world of Julia Donaldson.
Like audience interaction in the show.
Oh, brilliant!
Where kids can sort of join in, and like it's part of the show. So obviously, the bigger the audience, the more people join in, and it's lovely, because then as soon as one person says something, everyone's saying it. You know, the kids, they love it. So
I suppose it's a little bit sort of panto-esque, I would think, in a way.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, Tall Stories, they kind of pride themselves in making children's theatre that isn't sort of patronising in any way. Like it's for the family. Like it's really like kids. Like kids aren't stupid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So it's like getting more on their level and like kind of giving them actual theatre that they can kind of relate to, and like is like really fun for the entire family, not just for the children.
Yeah. I mean, what sort of costuming can we expect from the show? I mean, are you properly dressed up? And
yes,
good.
The costumes are amazing.
Oh, brilliant.
As the Gruffalo's child, I will say it's a very hot costume.
Yes, I can imagine.
As you can imagine. It's fur, like lots of different kind of shades of like orangey brown, like a jacket, and it has like a kind of fur thing around the neck, and same trousers with a big tail that's long, curly and brown, that has like a fluffy thing at the end. And boots that have claws, and like boots that have claws.
That's amazing. I mean, it just finishes the whole experience off for the child, because, you know, they've seen these characters as illustrations in the book, and to see them on the stage, I mean, they must be sort of in awe, really.
Yeah, and the set is made to kind of look like the drawings in the books.
Oh, wow.
That was like the impetus of like the set.
Yeah.
So the trees look really similar to the trees drawn.
Oh, brilliant.
kind of literally like you stepped into the book.
Oh.
It's really lovely.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. I mean, children's theatre is just so important because, you know, it's the next generation of people that are going to be buying theatre tickets. And it's, you know, it's definitely so important for them to get interested in the art form, really. And when it's something that they know, I think it makes it even more enjoyable for them. So thank you so much for having a chat with me today, Pip. It's been really lovely. As I mentioned, the Gruffalo's Child opens at the Garrick Theatre in the West End of London on the 1st of December, running through to the 7th of January. I hope you have the best time over the festive period. Wishing you and the rest of the cast a lot of luck. Enjoy.
So much.
You're welcome. Take care.